Ladies and gentlemen, Geri Petito.
I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. And in time, this too shall pass. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. Geri Petito taught the class. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. Loves the answer, the greener grass. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. One day at a time, free at last.
When you don't know just what to do,
Just what to do, just what to do.
if what you're feeling is really true,
Is really true, is it really true?
just keep your ideas safe and sound.
Safe and sound, safe and sound.
That's exactly how change is found.
Change is found, change is found. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. And in time, this too shall pass. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. Geri Petito taught the class. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. Loves the answer, the greener grass. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. One day at a time, free at last.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Geri Petito Show. Everyone and anyone who knows me knows I am the author of I'm Not an Addict, I'm Just an Ass. I'd rather be a smart ass than a dumbass. Because, guys, 34 years ago, I was a dumbass. But today, 34 years later, through the grace of God, I can honestly say now I'm a smart ass. Yes, the word ass is in the Bible at least 40 times, and it means donkey, and that's what I was. I'm saying all that to say this. There are a lot of people out there struggling. Addiction, even with recovery, even with health issues. I'm a nutritional health coach. I'm a recovery coach. All my services to you are free. Please reach out. I want you to know that someone is listening. If you think my book can help someone, because I sure do, you can go right to Simon & Schuster's bookstore, Archway Publishing, BAM, Amazon, Barnes & Noble. You can go to my website, www.geripetito.com. My book is now on audio with my voice, guys. Simon & Schuster wanted to put it to audio with someone else's voice, and I couldn't have that. So my producer, part owner of Hamilton Radio, Ruben Rodriguez, and owner of Iron Horse Films, is now doing audiobooks with your voice. So if there's any authors out there interested, reach out to me, please. One more thing, guys, listen. If you truly cannot afford my book, please reach out to me about that as well. I'm here to help. So, guys, I have a really cool guest. Actually, his name is Johnny Guest. How to say that, okay? So I have a really cool guest, guys. Johnny, say hello to everyone.
Hello, everyone.
All
How's
right.
it going?
It's going good. How are you?
Doing good. We're running at full tilt over here, so pretty tired, actually.
Oh, okay. Full tilt. Well, full
Yeah.
tilt poker. I'm a poker dealer. All right, here we go. So, Rust Belt Country. That's
Yeah.
the name of your band?
Nah, that's the genre that when people say, well, what kind of
Okay.
music do you play?
Okay.
I say Rust Belt Country because if I like to say, like, if Tom Petty were the axle and Chris Stapleton was the wheel, that's where we kind of live. You know, we're always moving, and kinds of things we sing about our real life, not necessarily Nashville. Nashville music is really cookie cutter anymore, and there's so much great music coming out of everywhere but Nashville, right?
Okay.
So Rust Belt Country is a way of saying some of that traditional rock and roll sensibilities, but it's Midwestern. You know, we're up in the snow belt where they salt the roads 10 months out of the year. So, you know, life is kind of harder up here.
Wait, where are you at?
I'm in Michigan.
Okay. So
Yeah, you got to be tough, you know.
you have to be tough.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. So who sings with you?
Well, in my band, I'm the lead vocalist, and we've got Rick Armstrong on bass, Ben Patterson on drums. Ben does a lot of harmony singing. We have Kimberly Spears just recently joined us for a limited number of shows, and she's fantastic on keys, and she does her own lead vocals too. So we're pretty excited with the direction of the band. It's going to be growing quite a bit towards 2026.
So what's the name of your band?
Just the Johnny Guest Band.
Oh, okay. That's
I
not...
got so tired, Jerry. I got so tired of shutting down Facebook pages and building websites and on, you know. And I've been in, I don't know, 40 bands or something. So I got tired of that. And
It's
so out
fine.
of laziness, I'm like, it's just gonna be my name, and we'll run with it. I know a ton of people. They'll know me. It's fine.
No, I think that's cool. It's not just the Johnny Just Guest Band. Okay, I love that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
Because it sounds sort of like Johnny's offering you a guest spot on my band.
Well, if you're a really good player and you work cheap, then we
There
can
you
talk.
go. Okay, that's cool. So now, all right. Do you talk about your age, or do you not want to talk about that?
Oh, I'm a Gen Xer, baby. Yeah, solidly in the Gen X camp, circa 1974.
Okay.
So, yeah,
So I have some questions.
I have
Growing,
answers.
all right, growing up in the music industry, who were some of, your heroes? Who were some of, but we always, all right, like for instance, I'm going to just say this. So I don't mind saying my age, and I say it for a reason. So I'm 64. I was born in 61. I'm an oldies Elvis and doo-wop girl. I mean,
Yeah.
and I was born in 61. All the music came out in the 50s and 60s. I have no idea why. I always say I
Mhm.
was born too late, but I love country. I also love rock and roll. You can't take that out of me because I grew up with that,
Yeah.
you know? So growing up, who influenced you in the music industry?
I think for me there's kind of two sides of that.
Okay.
There's the consumer in me. I wanted to consume music like Van Halen. I listened to every record. Bands like that were huge and iconic and larger than life and everything. Of course, we were all inundated with hair rock and all that stuff. But as a songwriter, they
Okay.
didn't really influence me as a songwriter.
Oh,
So it was more Springsteen and Tom Petty, um, John Hyatt. If you've ever heard of
who?
John Hyatt has made a career of putting out his own records, but then writing hit songs for other people. And
Okay. I know
so
one of his songs though that he sang.
sure. Let's see. Do you remember it's a 80s or 90s country song called Drive South? I think it was Susie Boggess. Come on, baby, drive south with the
Yes.
one you love. Well, he
Okay.
wrote that
Yes.
one. The song Angel Eyes.
Yep.
Yep, that was him.
He was singing that.
He wrote it.
He wrote
And
it, but
then
was he also
Jeff
singing
Healey
that?
made a hit.
Okay.
Oh,
Gotcha.
Jeff Healey made that one a
Okay.
hit. So,
Gotcha.
so it was some of these songwriters. I mean, for a little bit, it was like Woody Guthrie and some of these folk people. The melodic content there was really approachable and easy to absorb. Yeah, so for me, like I would get into an artist, I'd hear a song I like, and then I would listen to every record in order, start to finish, and absorb everything they had, all of their evolution I wanted to hear, and to try to uptake it and study that and consider it. So as a writer, it was more the singer-songwriters. And then as a guitar player, it was more Van Halen, AC/DC, ZZ Top, stuff like that.
So you're the only artist that has given me different examples of
Mm.
why certain artists or groups or songs influenced you. No one's ever done that.
Oh, okay.
So that's pretty
No,
cool.
yeah, I'm a student, and I'm never not learning. My brain is very hungry for knowledge and information and
That's pretty cool,
context.
kid. I'm being
Yeah.
serious because things have to make sense to me, and
Sure.
you just made everything make perfect sense to me.
Hmm.
Because
Okay.
I've had some artists say certain groups or singers influence them, but they sing completely opposite.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm
Sure.
like, I'm not getting that. But now you're
Mhm.
making it make sense. So thank you for that.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Okay, so now, I'm not sure if you could answer this. Some people can and some people can't. Um, do you have like that one song that stays with you that you could say is probably one of your favorite songs?
Um, Favorite song. Yeah. So for me, like the songs I play all the time aren't my favorite songs. We have kind of two businesses in one. Same band. We'll put on a cover show and we'll put on an original show.
Okay.
And so for me, some of my favorite songs that other people have written, man, I go back to a heavy band, King's X. They're a three-piece band out of Texas originally, and their whole catalog. Dang, it's hard to narrow it down, but there'd be probably Shoes by King's X is in the top three at least.
Okay.
And that's it. They're a heavy band, but they're intricate. They have Beatles harmonies, guitar solos, and big riffs. And no song sounds similar to another. It's amazing. I don't know how they've been doing it for so long.
Oh, wow.
As far as one I've written, one of my favorites is someplace called Free, which I'm going to re-release soon, sometime this year. Yeah, someplace called Free really, for me as a writer, ties in a lot of my place in the world.
Okay.
Like as a young person, how long did it take you to figure out where you fit into the world?
Okay. So, so you're re-recording it, you said?
We've already recorded it
Okay.
in Nashville with Luke Combs' first producer that did the Hurricane record. And he's very demanding. His name's Ken Royster, and great guy, huge ears. He's got satellite dishes on his ears, and he finds all the passion he can in a person behind the microphone, especially. So he's been a big influence on us in the last couple of years. So we had this song originally recorded locally called Someplace Called Free,
Okay.
and it's really. This is a topic I write a lot about, or often, where as a kid of the 70s and 80s, we had free reign of our own days a lot of times, even when we were under 10 years old. And it was, come home when the streetlights are on,
Yes.
right?
Yes. Long Island
Right?
City, New York, the same thing.
Same thing. And you could get away with a lot of stuff because you were a kid. And so we did. Me and my friends, man, we'd be on bikes, we'd be all over the place and barely evading getting into trouble. So that kind of freedom it's inside me, and I'm just not happy unless I'm there, and I'm never really there, right? So we're always yearning. I'm always yearning for it. And as an adult with responsibilities, it's like, man, I at least for a day, I need to just be a kid and have a day, let everything go away. That's usually on a motorcycle for me.
Okay. Have you written songs?
Written songs, lots of songs.
How many about? I'm asking for a reason.
Probably 600 songs, most of which have never seen the
Okay.
light of day.
Okay. All right. I'm going to ask you why, but before I ask
Okay.
you that question, have you ever written any poetry?
Lots of poetry, yeah. Actually, in college we did a book of poetry that was published and whatnot. So
Very cool.
yeah.
So the songs, why have they not seen the light of day?
Oh, well, that's a great question. So as an example, the full length record I released with a band I used to have called the Automatics. There was 10 songs on there. I wrote 80 songs for that project. I wanted to do a full length record, and I had the funding for it. So I'm like, we're going to do it as right as we can, So we spent a lot of time in the studio going over every little part. I spent tons of time with the songs before we even got there. And yeah, so those 10 were what told the story, I felt. But yeah, there was 70 songs that didn't make it. or
Okay.
said the same thing, but not in an interesting way. I do a lot of writing towards a subject, and then, 6, 8 songs come out towards that. And then not all of them are great ideas, right? So I try to have only the best come out. So when I say 600, I've got totes full of notebooks.
Okay. What month were you born?
July.
Okay. So you're very creative. And
Guilty.
yep. And I'm also I'm a Pisces. I don't really go by all the signs, but my sign holds
Mm-hmm.
true. I'm very creative. So I'm an artist, I'm a poet, I'm a writer, right? I don't sing, I'm not musically inclined, but I do all the others.
Cool.
And when I hear people talk the way you talk, and I don't hear that too often, honest to
Mm.
God, with entertainers, I knew you had to have written poetry. Okay, I just
Mm.
knew it.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
So now let me ask you about the songs you've written, and then we'll play one of your songs. So
Okay.
what would you say comes first most of the time? Because I'm sure it's a mix, but does the music usually come first for you or the words?
If I'm noodling on the guitar or the piano or something, then I might have a musical idea that's intriguing, and I start to repeat it and massage it and say, okay, this is neat, but it needs something, and then, kind of let it evolve from there. Sometimes a lyric line hits and I'll email it to myself. Other times it's as if the song was playing in my head and I just, like, somebody unmuted it.
Okay.
And so it's completely there. Words, melody, chords, it already exists somewhere, but now it's playing in my head. And so I, furiously try to scramble, and it's really frustrating actually when that happens, because to capture it and not alter it is really, really difficult.
Okay.
To like take it from the imagination and put it into frequencies and vibrations that are bound to the physical world. It makes it really hard to let it exist without any alteration.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow, very interesting. I'm loving how you're describing everything.
Ooh.
All right. Wow. Okay. You sound like a male version of me at times. So
Yikes.
I know. I'm just letting you know. Do you wear purple?
I used to have a purple shirt.
All right. We should get another one. I'm just saying, baby. Just saying. All right, producer. Let's play one of the songs, and then we're gonna have you talk about it.
Sounds great.
I've got a big sister, she served in the army. She carries those scars with honor and pride. When the pain gets too much to handle, she lights one up and forces a smile. In her front yard, all glory waves over a lovely flower garden. The weeding was easy in her younger years. She still gets it done, but feels it for days. She says, brother, remember that I love you, don't forget. God loves you too in your darkest day. I'll be right beside you. Every morning is a precious gift, so be thankful you've got life to live, 'cause it comes to an end like we always knew. Yeah, weeds don't die, but flowers do. It was a Tuesday in her 64th summer. She learned she was sick and called me at home. Hey, little brother, I've got to tell mama, but I'm too scared to do it alone. So we called answered. She said, hello. Sister said, Mama, they say I've got cancer. Then Mama cried, soft and low. Children, remember that I love you, don't forget. God loves you too in your darkest day. He'll be right beside you. Every morning is a precious gift, so be thankful you've got life to live. If I could trade the rest of my days, I'd give them to you. Yeah, weeds don't die, but flowers do. Life is beautiful and torn. We pray for the roses while wearing the thorns. To make every day count is all we can do. So sister, remember that I love you, don't forget. God loves you too in your darkest day. We'll be right beside you. Every morning is a precious gift. Let's be thankful we've got life to live, 'cause it comes to an end like we always knew. Weeds don't die, the flowers do. Only God knows why we bloom only for a time. Weeds don't die, but flowers do.
Wow, that my producer's yelling beautiful, beautiful song. It is. Tell us about the song.
Well, it was my ode to my older sister Gail. She passed a year ago, January.
So sorry.
Yeah. So she was diagnosed right around my birthday in July, and then passed 5 months later, basically. So in the meantime, though, I wanted this song to tell her story,
Okay.
because she was 15 years older than me. And so all of her music that she loved Leonard Skinner and Allman Brothers and all that stuff, Stevie Ray Vaughan, all of her faves, they influenced me, right? And we had such a musical connection, we could sit and talk music any old day. And she was a relentless encourager, and to all of us in the family. She was something else. She was also, like, when she was young, she was a wild child, she was crazy, getting in trouble, all kinds of stuff. She never backed down from a fight, a keen sense of justice, she's in the Army, and
She was in the Army?
yeah, she
She
was a
sounded
chemical
like me until
specialist.
that. I was never in the Army.
Okay. Yeah, well, anyway, she was something else. I always looked up to her, and yeah, so this was a way for me to tell her how much I loved her.
So sorry to hear that, but
Yeah.
you did a beautiful job.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it was. I couldn't get it recorded fast enough for her to hear it here. I did on her birthday was late August, so after she was diagnosed a couple months later, I was able to sort of play it for her in the living room. We had for her birthday, we brought in all the siblings and cousins and
Oh,
and
beautiful.
surrounded her, and so she kind of got to hear it, but and
Good.
not the recorded
It
version, of
doesn't
course, where
matter.
we can take our time
That's
and
right.
all
It
that.
doesn't matter. She got to hear
Yeah,
it. Beautiful.
yeah. So sometimes a song just that's the purpose. I oftentimes think of like if this song affects one person,
Yep.
then I'm successful.
That's right.
That one person that needs to hear it. And I knew what it meant to our family, but every time I play this live, I'll have at least one, maybe two people come up and say, "Hey, I just lost my brother,"
Yep.
and we have a really wonderful conversation.
That's beautiful.
So it was worthwhile to record it and release it, and in the hopes of having an ongoing conversation with people who are affected by cancer.
That's beautiful. Oh, okay. Wow. So before we play your next song, I have a
Mhm.
question about some of your songs.
Sure.
Okay. So when you write the songs, do they always have a personal story, or do you just sometimes come up with stuff that others might relate to?
Uh, well, that's a fantastic topic, I think, and with my songwriting friends, we kind of talk about this a lot,
Okay.
um, because there's a lot of music that is relatable without being personal.
Yep.
Flowers Due is not that.
Okay.
You know, that one is definitely a family story.
Yep.
If it's relatable, it's because you've been through something similar. So, um, some songs are meant to move more people by being less personal, less detailed, if you will.
Okay.
Humans have a lot in common, despite our best efforts to deny that sometimes.
Yes.
But so some songs are geared towards something that the bulk of folks would also feel, like the common story and all that. So for me, if I'm telling my story, then my personal story, I should say, then I try to round the edges a bit and be a little bit less detailed. If I'm telling someone else's story, then I try to pack it full of detail.
Okay.
As an example, a song I'm still working on and tweaking is it's called "Hey Dad." My dad passed in 2017, and so in a way, I'm talking to him, kind of like a prayer, if you will, in the song, but I'm telling his story. And it's interesting to do that, to dive in and I'm using all these images that he told me of his youth and childhood and teenage years and his 20s and 30s and stuff, long before I came around. So it's his telling of his stories that I'm trying to incorporate into this. I'm working on one about my mom too,
Okay.
and my mom's about to turn 85.
Okay. Beautiful.
And imagine in 85 years how much has changed in our country about life in general,
Yep.
right? So the things that she's seen, witnessed, endured,
Yep.
been influenced by, it's hard to really like get your mind around it. So yeah, so if I'm telling someone else's story, I try to use important details to describe their journey, their character, in like fiction, character development is huge, right? And character development is told through experiences. in fiction work, right? So in songwriting, it's harder because you're condensing it down to, well, one line about this, one line about that, and it's got to rhyme. Are you crazy? So it makes it a little bit more artful and challenging, I find.
So my mom passed away 21 years ago, but my dad only passed away 7 years ago. And I have a poem for each of them in my book. I have poems about my
Beautiful.
whole family, So that's why I'm
Mhm.
asking you, and I'm like, this is
Yeah.
amazing because that's how, for me anyway, my true feelings come out. You
Hmm.
know what I mean?
Sure.
Um, and it's just beautiful. Like I love listening to songs that mean something. It's
Hmm.
it's just amazing, and I listen to every word.
Mm,
And that's the artist in me, and like yourself.
sure.
All right, so I have a weird question. I don't think I've ever asked any artist this. Okay, I
Okay,
don't even
bring
know
it.
if you can answer this, but because you're so detailed with everything you're talking about, and you have that ability, and has there ever been like a song or two that you were just like, ugh, can't stand it. It means it's worthless. I can't listen to this. Anything?
One I've written or elsewhere?
No, no, like not one that you've written. I mean,
Okay.
like, in general.
Yeah, there's music that's just not written for me,
Written
you
for
know.
you. I like the way you said that as well.
Sure. So,
Give me an example.
as a consumer of music, I have my preferences just like everybody, right? Um, so there's like hip hop really isn't, it
Okay,
doesn't hit me. And there's a simple reason why.
okay,
Um, any music that's built in a computer instead of played by real musicians is not going to resonate with my frequency.
okay,
If it's all digital and sequenced and quantized, and it just takes the human out of it, and it's people that I resonate with. It's not
okay.
electronic things.
What
Although
about
I do
rap?
like, well, so rap is very similar. If we're talking like Run DMC rap, then I can get behind that.
Okay,
It was just a different. Um, well, they were sampling real musicians for one thing, so I could
okay,
kind of,
okay,
get behind that. Um, but they were innovative, and since then, there's hardly. It's hard to point to rap artists that are innovative because there's a lot of derivation. It's like it's evolution versus something brand new. So back when I was a kid and rap was just starting, like you had these movies coming out. Um, what was breakdancing?
okay,
I think was the name of a movie. I don't know. I might be getting it wrong, but um, you had all these cool cutting edge things happening, and that was exciting. I thought, like, wow, these guys they're hearing nothing and they're creating something that doesn't exist.
okay,
If you listen to Miles Davis, he invented like two different genres of music on his own. He was an engine of creativity and pushed himself constantly. So is there music I don't like? Yeah, there's plenty of songs. Pop songs, like if you really break down pop songs, it's a beat, it's a groove. If you gave me the beat of a pop song to work with and I wrote a song around it, it'd be completely different than the pop songs I'm hearing nowadays.
okay,
You know, um, yeah, I just would. And that's unfortunately, that's kind of where
okay,
country is stuck. Country right now, Nashville country is kind of stuck between pop and hip hop. Before that was alternative rock was influencing country. So country has been like, oh, well, let's do this too.
okay,
Let's do this too. And that's why you see right now, you're seeing bands like Turnpike Troubadours or Charles Wesley Godwin. These guys are taking country music and country elements and singing about life in artistic ways.
okay.
So it's real It feels real, authentic, and the cookie cutter country,
Okay.
it just doesn't land as hard. So
Okay.
yeah.
Wow, very cool. So now let's play. We have another song, right? Let's play our next song and we'll have you talk about it.
Okay.
Here we go.
When I wake up, you're already running. Sounds from the kitchen and your sweet voice humming.
Got a song in my heart like lovers do.
I know the words and you know the truth. Long day at work and I can't wait for a little home cooking and your angel face.
Got some music playing like we always do.
I know the words and you know the tune. I know the words and you know the tune. I strung the chords and you dance the groove. It's a hit in the kitchen and the bedroom too. I know the words and you know the tune.
Staying up late on a Saturday night, making music till the morning light.
Sunday singing from the second pew.
I know the words and you know the tune.
I know the words and you know the tune. I strung the chords and you dance the groove. It's a hit in the kitchen and the bedroom too. I know the words and you know the tune. Oh, I'll build a house
And I'll make it home.
love like this. We're never alone. We don't have it all, but we'll make do.
You count the stars.
And you hang the moon. I know the words and you know the tune. I strung the chords and you dance the groove. It's a hit in the kitchen and the bedroom too. I know the words and you know the tune. I know the words and you know the tune.
My producer is loving you, okay? He's clapping and giggling and okay? So tell us
Awesome.
about that song.
This is inspired by the relationship I have with my wife. So she likes to say that we're the kind of couple that finishes each other's sandwiches.
Sandwiches?
Yeah. But we really are like two halves of the same brain cell, and I've never had a relationship that was that symbiotic, and complementary.
I love it.
Yeah. So I had this idea and I brought it to some co-writers of mine. And we worked on it and polished it up. I wanted it to be creative sounding. And so I threw in some odd time measures here and there because that's what the melody wanted. The melody wanted to not have these huge gaps or anything. So to make it all work, we put in some 3/4 measures in there to keep it moving. So lyrically, I wanted to have relatable images in there. So, but also kind of describe our relationship, the nature of our relationship. So to me, the story of it is that there is beauty in the mundane, the daily grind,
Okay.
if you will,
Yep.
and how two people that don't give up on each other, that work towards each other's happiness, can find some beauty and in creating a normal, right? Um, in my life, I mean, I've lost a lot of people in my life. When you lose somebody, normal is out the window. Nothing feels normal. It's gone, right? And it's so really the opposite of that is normal. Normal is supposed to be boring, but I think there is a peace there, and especially in a household, in a peaceful household, loving household, it's precious to me, and it can't be boring if you cherish it and work on it all the time, right? So yeah, this for me, this song is it's really about how two people can create a life together, fight for each other um, through every bad day, and find something beautiful in it with imagery in there, like the coming home to the person you love and being excited about it, you know,
That's beautiful.
kitchen dancing. I mean,
I like
that's the
that.
thing.
Okay.
We love kitchen dancing around here. And both of us are like, food is a love language, right? So we, you know, um, we just kind of tied all that regular life stuff into it in order to tell that kind of story. One of my favorite lines is, as an example of like Sunday singing from the second pew, but the perspective of it kind of shifts, from hers and his and back and forth to get, or together, right?
Okay.
So, and it's a way of saying like, hey, I'm different than you, you're different than me, but we complement each other.
Mm-hmm.
We have different strengths and skills and traits that the other one can't do without.
I love that.
Isn't that something? I hear a lot of folks who are jaded, heartbroken, I don't need no man and all that kind of attitude. And like, I'm here to tell you that eventually you need to humble yourself and find or allow yourself to be open to the person that compliments you. And you'll never find him if you think you don't need him. Because
Okay.
I was that guy. I thought, well, I'm never getting married again, all that stuff. So, but I did.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautifully said. So
Thank you.
now I'm going to read a poem out of my book.
Oh, let's do that.
Okay. So the reason I love reading this poem when I do entertainers is because it's called Utilizing Gifts and Talents. And that's what you do. And a lot of people out there question their self-worth, that they don't have anything to offer. And I always say everyone has a gift. I mean, think about this. What would we do without sanitation workers? Okay? My cousin and uncle were sanitation workers when I grew up in New York, and they would come down the road on the truck and we would wave. I mean, I'm a super clean, crazy person in my home. My cleaning lady is like, why am I here? Okay, my mother was messy, so I went the exact opposite. And I think all the time, okay, I need my cleaning people, I need sanitation workers. Like, to me, they're super important. So, everyone has a gift to offer. So, if anyone out there is questioning their self-worth, please listen to every word of this poem, okay? Utilizing gifts and talents. We are born with talents, we are born with drive, with different gifts to help us thrive. I knew early on I was born to draw and paint, to also write poetry, and to talk without restraint. Our gifts and talents should all be used, God's gift to us, not be abused. We can go far in life for sure, using our gifts to go on tour, like this guy's doing. All our talents should be used to create ourselves and more, but then our job's to share them. to even up the score. You see, in life, what's needed is not just for ourselves. Once our gifts are mastered, take them off the shelves. A living we can make by spreading them around, not just for the money, but to spread a peaceful sound. Don't take for granted the gifts you're given. Go out and spread the joy. Our gifts are not to be held back for us to self-destroy. Put your efforts forth. Do not hesitate. All your talents, my friend, are never second rate. Never hold them back or you will surely die. Maybe not in body, but your soul will cry. Our gifts were made to share, our talents made to soar. Go through life enlightened, then you can roar. Be proud of who you are. Be happy you're alive. Once again, my friend, your gifts will help you thrive. By putting efforts forth, not keeping them at bay, your name, Johnny Guest, baby, will live forever, forever and a day. So go through life excited for what you sure can give. To yourself and others is our reason to live. Our grave will be quite lonely, but our legacy lives on. So make sure people smile with the breaking dawn. And that's what you're doing. That's what you are
Awesome.
doing. You know, your wife is very lucky, and so are you, to have each other. Because just the way you've described everything today made this so worthwhile for me. You know, I'm a person of words, and I just love all that, and you're just incredible. So I'm going to give you back the mic, and I want you to share some words of encouragement with others, but I also want you to let them know how to reach out to you, how to get your music, maybe if they want to hire you. The mic is yours.
Sure. Well, on the connection side, my website is johnnyguestmusic.com, and there's a web form in there, and I love hearing from people through there. Facebook, it's Johnny Guest Music. Same thing for Instagram. That's maybe it's because I'm old, but Facebook is still quite the hub. Instagram is cool. I prefer it as a consumer of social media, but Facebook, there's just more people looking for music on there.
You just called me
Seems like.
really old because I'm sure I'm older than you. Go ahead.
Well, you are, but I
You just
think
called-
you act younger, though.
Oh, all right. I'll take that.
Maybe.
I'll take that.
Yeah, okay. Words of advice, I guess, influenced by your awesome poem and your thoughts and in there. A talent isn't what I thought it was. And there's a parable in the Bible that talks about a talent.
Tell
right?
us.
What a talent is, it was a sum of money, actually, a long time ago. And the parable was a shepherd gave a talent to 3 farmers. And they'd never seen that much money. And so he tasked them all to care for these talents. And one of them was scared he'd lose it, so he buried it.
Okay.
And one turned it into 3 talents.
Okay.
And one turned it into 1.5 talents.
Okay.
And when the property owner came back and said, okay, so how did we do? And one guy that buried his talent was like, well, he dug it up. He's like, here it is. He dusted it off. Here it is. It's exactly what you gave me. And he wasn't happy. He was like, well, why didn't you grow it? Why didn't you multiply it? That's what I asked you to do. And in context of money, it's like, okay, yeah, I get that, right? And it's pretty realistic to say we need to invest wisely and things like that. But in context of our world today, a talent is something innate within us. And a talent, in that sense, in that context, is more about what we do with our own selves, right? So investing in our own selves. It could be reading a book. You know, I read a lot of nonfiction anymore. Business books and
Read
stuff.
a book, guys. Read a book.
Yeah, that's probably a fine book to put on the nightstand. But yeah, growing the talents within us, I feel challenged with that. that's what I am supposed to be doing with the rest of my life.
Yes.
I'm supposed to grow the talents I was given, and someday the Lord's going to be like, "Hey, what'd you do with it? I gave it to you. What'd you do with it?" And so for me, writing these songs, it really gets back to that audience of one where, if I can lift people up with a fun song, a summer song, or something like that, or help them feel in love, or whatever it is, or cope with loss, which is flowers do. I mean, we as music consumers, we don't want to hear sad songs all day long. There's a few gluttons for punishment out there that love
Yep.
sad country songs,
Yep.
and that's kind of its own little genre, and that's
Yep.
kind of fun to talk about. But overall, we don't want to be depressed forever. So
Nope.
we need to celebrate the good times and heal from the bad times and things like that. So anyway, I guess that's my encouragement for anybody who might listen, is to understand that you do have talents. You are gifted, whether or not you've uncovered them or not. You don't know yet. But if you don't experience things, if you're closed off in your own little world, then or you're not. Maybe you're just repeating yourself endlessly. Do you know anybody, Jerry, who has their life all established, and they're just they have this circle and they don't really get out of it. This comfort zone is really small.
More than somebody, many.
Yeah. So those new experiences uncover talents and skills and abilities, and if we expand our horizons, we wind up having a better context, a contextual look at our own selves and where we fit. There's a lot of folks struggling with mental illness. They don't know where they fit. They feel like they don't fit anywhere, but I don't believe that at all. But I've always been a person who challenged myself, and I expected very good things out of myself, and it's been a struggle every minute of every day. But the struggle is beautiful. It's a way to grow. I remember my dad saying, "Pray for a strong back, not a light load." And so that always stuck with me. Like, that makes sense to me. I'd rather be able than have it easy.
That's right. Beautiful.
But like I said, I'm a crusty Gen Xer. We're kind of grumpy all the time. We're just wondering why everybody's so upset.
You're not grumpy. So I want to thank you so much. This interview was awesome. I will be talking about this, I kid you not, for a very long time.
Oh, I appreciate that.
Here's my challenge to you.
Okay.
If you record any of your other songs that you've written that you thought weren't worth it, and you revisit them, please reach out to me. We will do this again.
Mm-hmm. Well, I have 4 songs to release this year.
Let
so
me
I'd
know.
love to visit with you again.
Please. All right.
Sounds great.
All right. So, producer, take us out.
Ladies and gentlemen, Geri Petito.
I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. And in time, this too shall pass. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. Geri Petito taught the class. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. Loves the answer, the greener grass. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. One day at a time, free at last.
When you don't know just what to do.
Just what to do, just what to do.
If what you're feeling is really true.
Is it really true? Is it really true?
Just keep your ideas safe and sound.
Safe and sound, safe and sound.
That's exactly how change is found.
Change is found, change is found. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. And in time, this too shall pass. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. Geri Petito taught the class. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. Loves the answer, the greener grass. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. One day at a time, free at last.